Ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo Sabres are a complete shit show. We're going to talk today about potential trade and team fits for Jack Eichel because it's essentially done at this point. He is done in Buffalo. There is no hope left on this earth for this team. With me today is the co-founder of our Instagram, Cal. How are you doing today, Cal?
We're doing decent. I mean, it's gonna be a tough few weeks here, but getting through it.
Yeah, it's I don't know when I've been as little optimistic about the Sabres future as I am right now. And that is because there are reports that Jack Eichel will be traded very, very soon. I've heard some people say it'll be this week, some people say not this week, but the next week. There's certainly been a lot of things swirling around regarding Jack Eichel and his future with the Sabres. But let's just get right into it for today. We are here to discuss team fits, teams that could potentially trade for Eichel and have the necessary assets to give the Sabres in return. I'm going to start things off with you, Cal. Who do you think Eichel could go to, and what would that potential return be?
Okay, right now I got the Ducks as my leading candidate. I know they said they wanted to ship him out west. I feel like the Ducks have the assets. The trade I put together, I'm not a fan of. Would I accept it? Probably not, but I feel like we're going to get fleeced. So I feel like this deal will be at least not getting fleeced. So I have Jack Eichel going to the Ducks in exchange for Trevor Zegras, Adam Henrique, a third-round pick, and the third overall pick in 2021.
It's not a horrible trade. I really agree with you. Trevor Zegras, he has to be in the return. If he is not in the return, we're not trading with the Ducks.
Yeah,
That
completely.
third overall pick is also a no-brainer. The Sabres would love to have two of the top three picks in this year's draft. They could get a guy like Matty Beniers. I almost said Bernier,
Yeah.
like Jonathan Bernier. Matty Beniers, or even Luke Hughes or an Owen Power if Power were to fall that far,
Yeah.
which it's 50-50. I don't really know. Like, I've seen totally different draft boards in the weeks upcoming.
Yeah.
The third round pick, just based on history as of recent, we've seen a lot of big deals in the NHL, and they've usually involved another like mid round pick, like a third or
Yep.
a second. And Henrique, I'm not surprised by that either. That's a good one. Why did you include Henrique and say not another veteran like Maxime Comtois?
Yeah, I felt like Henrique. I've been seeing Henrique's name in the trade rumors lately, and I was like, I feel like that guy would be the Buffalo guy. Comes here, does all right. Not your huge asset in that trade, but I could see him fitting in Buffalo.
Yeah, the fit is there for Henrique. Obviously, if the Sabres were to trade a center, they would like to have some proven NHL caliber center coming back, and
Yeah,
Henrique would fill that role, either a second or third line center on second line on a bad team, third on a decent team, and fourth on a stacked team. Um, Not a bad trade. I'm as the value for Eichel has really plummeted over this last year. You remember last year when there were reports the Rangers offered 2 or 3 firsts for Eichel?
yeah. When Eichel was drafted, you probably could have got almost McDavid. You could have probably put in like Skinner had a phenomenal year. Eichel Skinner for McDavid. They probably would have accepted that. Nowadays, that's a laugh at like that's a joke. So it's really unfortunate how Eichel's trade value has plummeted, how he's been treated by the team, how he's treated the team, and it's just not been a great fit at all.
It's been an extremely toxic situation. As a fan, I'm just really apathetic at this point. I don't care about either side. Both sides,
Yeah,
Eichel's camp and the Sabres camp, are both in the wrong to some degree in this whole fiasco. Of course, the Sabres, there's always a fiasco coming in recent
yeah,
years. Um, at this point, I guess your trade would be probably Kevin Adams would be pulling the trigger on that.
yeah.
What How much more would you want the Sabres to get? Because we know what the Sabres probably would. That was something the Sabres probably would take. How much more would you want the Sabres to take, in your opinion?
Okay, so I'm just gonna start by explaining like my view of Eichel. We've seen what Eichel can do. Rookie year, second year, third year, he was phenomenal. He did plays that we haven't seen in Buffalo in years and years. Like he did things that I didn't see Vanek do. I haven't seen Pominville do. Like those are some of our big players. This guy's special. Now, obviously, the last few years or last 2 years, you could say Eichel's been injury prone, hasn't fit with the team, kind of gave up on the team. So other teams aren't going to see that. But as a Sabres fan, I want the world for Eichel. I need a superstar in return if I were the GM because he's a superstar. And if you're not going to get a superstar, I say keep him. But obviously, that's not going to happen.
Nah, at this point, it seems like the Eichel era in Buffalo is over. Um, Before I get into my trade, I want to give my opinions about Eichel as well. It looked all sunshines and rainbows for about years 1, 2, and 3, especially when Eichel went on that crazy point streak. Of course, it ended because he was injured for a game, and the NHL was like, no, let's not do that anymore. That was when I feel like that was peak Eichel. He's scoring and is passing and he's assisting every single game. And the team around him, they weren't bad. There's still a lot of holes, but this team almost actually made 2014 playoff. Oh my God. They missed out on 2 points. Yeah, let's not think about that. No. Obviously this last year has been really rough. Eichel got injured probably it was sometime during that preseason training camp, correct?
Yeah, right during training camp, he had, multiple injuries before the season started. He had the ankle injury, had this apparent upper lower body injury. Yeah, maybe some conspiracy theories there, but yeah.
Eichel was a lizard person. No. He had that herniated disc that Kruger just like we're gonna just play you through that injury. Probably made it worse. If Eichel were mad, that's something I can understand why he'd be mad there, because Kruger made him play through the injury, and it was painfully clear that Eichel was not at 100%, not even close. Even still, his 100% was probably peak Riley Sheehan.
Yeah, it was not good.
Nah, it was not good at all. Eichel had a really disappointing half a year. He got 2 goals. That's it. 2 goals. And this was after he got his wish, and he was clamoring for the Sabres to get a guy like Taylor Hall. He got his wish, and him and Taylor both disappointed. They didn't do anything, even though they had everything handed to them. Money, spot on the roster, a top line minutes, power play time. They're handed it all, and they didn't do jag squat with it.
On paper, that lineup looked great, right? Like, I don't care what coach you have. On paper, that lineup should be able to win you games, and it clearly didn't.
No, it just... The forward group I thought was, on paper, let me be very clear, on paper, that was a much improved forward group. I can see what Kevin Adams was doing. His vision, I wouldn't say was horrible. It was actually pretty good. And he brought up some young guys like Dylan Cousins and Tage Thompson and mixed them in together with a couple veterans that should know how to play at an NHL level. Guys like Eric Stahl, Taylor Hall, Riley Sheehan even. He was good. On the penalty kill, 4th line minutes, not bad. Of course, he did sign Cody Eakin. Oh, boy. And he did
good example of us just getting kind of like sabered. I mean, this guy, when we brought him in, everyone thought, all right, he'll be decent. Had the worst year of his career by 1,000%. He just was horrible. I mean,
there's no way around it. It was awful. He was awful. The Sabres were pretty bad too, and it's just I can say. I don't think I'm mad at Kevin Adams over this past season, because I really think that he tried to put together a good squad. And on paper, it looks like a great squad. Eric Stahl, he was still producing at a 45 to 50 point range in his last season with Minnesota. Taylor Hall, we all know what he could be doing. And we saw this past later half of the season with Boston. And Eichel, we all know Eichel. Kevin Adams certainly couldn't have predicted that Eichel would be injured. Taylor Hall would not care. Eric Stahl would be unhappy and not, you could tell right off the bat with Eric Stahl that he did not want to be in Buffalo. I remember watching an Instigators interview with Eric Stahl, and they were asking him questions, and Stahl, he seemed more shocked than happy. Don't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Stahl, like all of his interviews, he was like, kind of moseying around 50-50. Like he didn't really have that passion, which I think Taylor Hall did have in the beginning. All the video, he was the complete opposite of Taylor Hall. When we first got Taylor Hall, he seemed like he wanted to be here. He seemed happy. He seemed like there was hope, and clearly there wasn't. But
well, I think mainly you can. If there's one bad thing that Kevin Adams did this past year was holding on to Ralph Krueger for way too long. After loss 6, you should have been firing. I would have been firing this guy, but the Pegulas pressured Adams. Adams kind of obliged like a good dog, obedient little dog, and they fired him eventually after 12 straight losses. That's just too long. And looking at what Don Granato did with the team right afterwards, sure, they lost 6 more straight, but once they found their footing, they weren't a bad team. They were doing the same with a much worse squad. They were comparable to the beginning of the year team.
Yeah, Granato got stripped away of his 2-star players, Eichel and Hall. He didn't have Stahl for most of it, and he played amazing. Like he let the team play amazing, and I'm not going to say he's the greatest coach of all time. I'm not going to say he's a fantastic coach, but he's at least a coach that lets his players play free, and that's what we needed.
That was, I think, many of the players, mainly Case Middleton, Tage Thompson, were relieved that Krueger was gone because Krueger was screwing up their development.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't want to get too off track here. I still have to talk about my Eichel trade, but I just wanted some context there. I think it'll be valuable for people wanting to say, oh, well, we're not going to give our first or third overall pick away for Eichel. Well, he's a great player. He just had one bad year. And every single year before this, he's incrementally improved. And he's beyond a point per game player. Any team that does get him should be amazingly happy. But anyways, I think the best fit for Eichel in this situation has to be Minnesota. The Wild, I've been hearing their names in the rumor mill. There's a couple of names that I like from that squad, and that includes Jordan Greenway, their 2021 first, which I think is like the 17th, 18th overall. Marco Rossi, but if you remember my last year rant about them getting Jack Quinn over Marco Rossi, that's right. Really would want the Sabres to get him in this trade. And finally, some depth in Nico Sturm. Nico Sturm had a great year last year on the third line, great penalty killer. Jordan Greenway, I think he's an intriguing second line option. Marco Rossi would be the centerpiece of this trade. He is slated to be ready, actually, for this upcoming NHL season. He is deemed NHL ready. The only reason why he hasn't played yet is because he caught COVID right before, I think it was in Austria. He was about to come over, and then he just unfortunately caught COVID. So that's really bad timing. And I also mentioned how the Sabres would be getting another third-round pick in this. This would be the Penguins' third-round pick in 2021. What do you think about my trade?
I think your trade is a good trade. I think overall it's a Sabres trade, right? That's a trade for Eichel last year or the year before. You're not getting a superstar out of it, but you're getting good depth. You're getting picks. You're getting young players. I think it could work. Again, as a Sabres fan, if we traded that, everyone would be like, oh, we didn't get a superstar. You can't get a superstar in this market. Everyone is downgrading Eichel. They don't like Eichel. They think Eichel's a problem at this point, and it's going to be tough to get stuff. So if we do that, I'd be content with it.
Yeah, I think this is the ceiling of what the Sabres actually do. Jordan Greenway, I know some Wild fans are going to be pissed because they don't probably want to lose Jordan Greenway because he finally showed some taking the next step at the NHL level. But for me, it was either Jordan Greenway or Joel Eriksson Ek, both of whom looked pretty good in this season. I'm a little more sold on Greenway because Eriksson Ek, he's really done nothing. And this year, this was his breakout season. He got like 30 points in 45 games, which is really good. Greenway, I've just seen a little more growth with him. It's not
Progression for
just,
sure.
yeah, it's not just like all at once. It's a little more promising. It's like he's building up to something. Um, so that's my trade. I think Eichel will be going to Minnesota. Cal, you think he's going to Anaheim? Eventually, we will see where Jack Eichel goes. Either way, Sabres fans don't expect to be satisfied and don't expect to be happy. Cal, if you were to say one thing to Sabres fans hoping that the Sabres get a decent return for Jack Eichel, what would you say?
I'd say open your eyes, look at the last few GMs we've had, look at the last few coaches we've had, look at the last few teams we've had. We're not getting anything from this trade of value. We're going to get fleeced. We've got fleeced before. We're losing our star player. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, and we're going to be mad again. So get ready, Sabres Twitter.
Yeah, Sabres Twitter is about to become the most toxic place on that app, which is saying a lot. Eventually, when Eichel does get traded, I will make a rant video. We also have some new shorts coming out, some YouTube shorts. That's in the mill. Those will be coming out whenever. We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some up by the time this is uploaded. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys, those shorts will look a lot like the Josh Adam Madden video, which has been doing fantastic. If you haven't checked that out already, make sure you can check it out right after this video. But anyways, that's it for us from Buffalo Sports Center. I was Don. This was Cal. We are sad. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get to 700 subscribers eventually. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see y'all in the next video.